this is tyranny, era of tyranny. You understand? And you cannot take it away. As far as we Nigerians are concerned, Abacha is one of the best presidents we have. And Obasanjo, you understand? And Obasanjo, all these people are corrupt. So is it not better we even have people who they said is corrupt that will come and solve our problem in this country than people who say that they are sent, that things are not moving. Our economy is shut down, many things is shut down, nothing is working. So what are we now saying?
What we are passing through in Nigeria is, in fact, is not what we expected. You understand? Even so the Nigerian that voted for, because personally myself, I never voted for Buhari for one day. My vote was not casted for him because I know him right from history. When we were in Lagos, then there was a massive unemployment. Then there was no job. People suffer to eat. Then that was why I didn't give him one vote. And I am telling you, this one, I am not giving him one single vote. My community is not giving him one single vote.
Forget about people who see themselves as if they are the ones to decide. He said he's not going to vote for Buhari. That is left for him. He cannot say his community will not vote for Buhari because he don't know even his brother, his immediate brother, will like Buhari more than he did. You understand? That is how you think. We must pass through a wilderness to get to the promised land. What PDP has been doing to this country is only God. If you give them that chance again, we will derail. We'll get back to where we have been into. Yeah? So we better suffer it now and our future restored.
This government came on the promise that they are going to make Nigeria better. And on discovering, they discovered that there are a lot of messes, which to clean up that messes, it will not take 1 or 2 years, or even 3 years, or one single term. That will mean 4 years in government. But I discovered that by giving the government more time, maybe about 8 years or more, we can now start crediting them that yes, they've done this, they've done that. But for the past 3 years of this government, apart from the insecurity that is caused by our own people here in the north central of the Middle Belt abstraction.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV World Desk. I am Daniel Waboso. From the home front now, former Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko has declared his intention to run for president on the platform of the Labour Party in 2019. Mimiko made the declaration at exactly 12:15 p.m. at the event held at the National Secretariat of the Abdul Qadir Abdul Salam-led Labour Party in Abuja on Thursday. He said there comes a time in the life of a nation where all patriots must stand up to be counted. He said, quote, that I have found it compelling to declare my intention to run for president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, unquote. Mimiko lamented the wanton killing across the country, especially in the Middle Belt, saying purposeful leadership was required to halt the carnage. And also on the home front now, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has defected from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party. The embattled Speaker has picked the PDP nomination and expression of interest forms to return to the House in 2019. Dogara a few days ago expressed his desire to return to the National Assembly in 2019 when members of his constituents visited him in Abuja. However, he refused to state the political party that he would use to facilitate his ambition. The Federal High Court has ordered the Department of State Services to pay the sum of 10.5 million naira as compensation to journalist Jones Abiri over his illegal detention for 2 years by a security agency. At the resumed hearing on Thursday, Justice Nnamdi Dingba stated that the DSS did not deny arresting him or detaining him since July 2016, denying him access to his doctors, family and friends. He further stated that when Abiri was eventually charged to court earlier this year, he was not charged with the crime for which he was arrested. The judge then ruled that the DSS acted outside the provisions of the law regarding the Terrorism Prevention Act and therefore ordered the agency to pay the sum. Nigeria's solid minerals sector has contributed 3 billion naira annually to the Federation account. Minister for Solid Minerals and Steel Development, Abubakar Buhari, said on Thursday in Zurich. Buhari stated this in Zurich. He said that the new figure was from royalties paid by operators, noting that in previous years the sector generated 700 million annually. According to him, the sector could generate more revenue if the challenges of illegal mining, smuggling, and lack of technical know-how are addressed. We move now to Ghana, where Ghanaians bid farewell to former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan on Thursday in a state funeral attended by African leaders and international statesmen who hailed his record as an advocate for humanity and world peace. Annan, a Ghanaian national and Nobel laureate, died in Swiss hospital last month at the age of 80. His body was flown to Accra on Monday for burial in his homeland, where he is seen as a national hero. Around 6,000 mourners packed the auditorium for Thursday's official service, the climax of a multi-day funeral ceremony, which has seen his coffin draped into the Ghanaian national colours displayed for public viewing. Annan, a Ghanaian of Ashanti lineage, was granted a royal title by the Ashanti king in 2002. Still on the passage of Annan now, the UN on Thursday paid final respect to former Secretary General Kofi Annan as a late Ghanaian diplomat is laid to rest on Thursday in Ghana. The current UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, in his remarks at the funeral of his predecessor, played glowing tributes to Annan, who died on August 18 at the age of 80. UN Secretary General Assembly, would hold a commemorative meeting to pay tribute to the former Secretary General on Friday at the UN headquarters in New York. Statements, a minute of silence, and traditional African cultural performances are expected to be made in honor of the 7th UN scribe. And in Russia now, President Vladimir Putin on Thursday promised to strengthen the army and supply it with new generation weapons as he traveled to watch Russia's biggest war games since the fall of the Soviet Union. The Vostok 2018 East 2018 drills taking place in eastern Siberia, close to the border with China, involved 300,000 Russian troops, as well as joint exercises with the Chinese army. The exercises that involve over 1,000 military aircrafts, as well as up to 36,000 tanks, come amid tense relations between Russia and the West that have fallen to a post-Cold War low. Addressing the gathering of the soldiers, Putin said Russia was a peaceful country ready for cooperation with any state interested in partnership, but that it was a soldier's duty to be ready to defend his country and its allies. In Turkey now, Turkey is reinforcing its military post inside Syria's rebel-held province of Idlib. Turkey and Syria rebels seeking to deter a government offensive which it says would unleash a humanitarian disaster on its border. President Tayyip Erdogan has warned that an assault by the army and its Russian and Iran-backed allies on Idlib, home to around 3 million people, will uproot hundreds of thousands in one of Syria's last rebel strongholds. Already hosting 3.5 million Syrians, the world's biggest refugee population, Turkey says it cannot absorb more victims of the war and has accused the West of abandoning it to face these consequences of President Bashar al-Assad's reconquest of Syria. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order authorizing sanctions against individuals or countries found to have meddled in American elections. He has faced months of criticisms for not doing enough to prevent potential foreign interference in future polls. The order comes with midterm election just a few weeks ahead. To the U.S. now, Hurricane Florence has since downgraded to a Category 2 storm as it approaches the U.S., but officials still warn of a disaster at the doorstep. Florence winds may have dropped to 110 meters per hour, but its slow-moving nature could lead it lingers for days, bringing catastrophic flooding. Some 10 million people are now under some form of storm watch. Florence may now be headed further south, and Georgia is the latest state to declare an emergency. It joins North and South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. Still in the U.S., 6 people have been killed in linked shooting in the city of Bakersfield in California, police say. A man and his wife drove to a trucking business in the city where the man shot dead 2 men and his wife. The man then drove to another residence where he shot dead 2 more people after hijacking the vehicle with a woman and a child in it. The man was then confronted by a deputy and shot himself dead. Police are still investigating the motives behind the killings. Danny Youngblood of the Kern County Sheriff's Department said deputies were called to the trucking business after reports of shooting fired at 7:20 local time. You're on to PTV World Desk. Don't forget to watch us live anywhere across the world via our mobile app. It's PTV Nigeria on Google Play and Apple stores. You can also watch us live via our website, www.ptvng.com/live. Don't forget to follow us on social media platforms. It is PTV_NG on Twitter and Instagram. We're going to a short break now. We'll come back. More stories on PTV World Desk. Do stay.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
Practitioner was placed at the end of justice about
no religious body in Nigeria
validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Welcome back. Now to Israel, where Israeli forces have dismantled several shacks near Khan al-Ahmar set up by activists to protest against the planned demolition of the Bidon village in the occupied West Bank. Israeli border police arrived before dawn on Thursday and dismantled the protest camp, according to witnesses. Israelis plan to demolish the village, home to nearly 200 people, and relocate its residents has been criticized by Palestinians and drawn international condemnation. The pre-dawn operation raised fears among residents that the demolition would occur soon, but the Israeli forces left the area after they removed the shacks. And 2 Russians appeared on state television on Thursday saying they had been wrongly accused by Britain of trying to murder a former Russian spy and his daughter in England and had been visiting Salisbury in March for tourism. British prosecutors last week identified 2 Russians they said were operating under aliases Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Boshirov, whom they accused of trying to poison Sergei and Yulia Skripal with a military-grade nerve agent in England. The 2 men who appeared on Russia's state-funded RT television station had some physical similarities to the men shown in British police images. And Britain's Prince William offered his sympathy to victims of recent disaster in Japan as he officially opened a new Japanese cultural center in London on Thursday. William expressed his sympathy at the official opening of Japan's house in London, where he was joined by Japan's Deputy Prime Minister Taro Aso. Western Japan was hit on September 4 by the strongest typhoon to strike the country in 25 years, and then just days later by an earthquake that paralyzed the northernmost main island of Hokkaido and left more than 40 dead. Other Japan House centers are in Los Angeles and Sao Paulo, Brazil. In India now, a group of Indian Catholic nuns staging a rare street protest in the southern state of Kerala, demanding justice after an alleged sexual assault of a nun by a bishop. Police have called the bishop named in the complaint for a second round of questioning next week. The bishop has denied wrongdoing. The case comes at a time when the Christian community, which accounts for 19% of the state's population, is reeling under an erosion of trust as sexual abuse cases involving the clergy pile up. 5 priests were arrested in August in 2 different sexual assault cases, while last year a Catholic priest who was trying to flee the country was arrested after a minor he's accused of having sex with gave birth. The nun in the letter said she wanted the Vatican to intervene. Meanwhile, the U.S. bishop accused of molesting adults resigned on Thursday in the latest sex abuse scandal to rock the Catholic Church. Pope Francis has accepted the resignation of Monsignor Michael J. Bransfield as Bishop of Wheeling-Charleston in the U.S. state of West Virginia, a Vatican statement said. Separately, the Diocese of Wheeling-Charleston said on its website that Bransfield, 75, will be investigated over allegations of sexual harassment of adults. The probe is to be led by Baltimore Archbishop Williams Lowry, who was named interim leader of the diocese. And in Brazil now, Brazil's presidential candidate Jair Bolsonaro is likely to stay in hospital until the October 7 election. Brazil's presidential candidate needs more surgery as he recovers from a stabbing attack last week. Bolsonaro, a far-right candidate in Brazil's October 7 presidential election, was attacked in the city of Juiz de Fora by a man wielding a kitchen knife last Thursday. The former army captain was rushed to hospital where he on an abdominal vein, the colon and the large intestine. He may not be able to return to campaigning before the elections, but a new opinion poll showed that the attack has increased his approval ratings. According to a Datafolio poll, Bolsonaro's rating went up from 22 to 24%. And in France now, the Malian migrants who dramatically rescued a small boy dangling from a balcony in Paris, France, has since been made a French citizen. Mamoudou Gassama scaled 4 floors with his bare hands to save the 4-year-old boy who was left unsupervised. Gassama, who had been in France illegally, received international acclaim for his bravery. President Emmanuel Macron personally thanked him and said he would be offered a role in the fire service. Gassama was initially given French residency, a first step towards citizenship, and then fast-tracked to receive his French citizenship for his heroic gesture. Now in Myanmar, where Aung San Suu Kyi has defended the jailing of 2 Reuters journalists despite international condemnation, she said Wallon and Kyaw Soe had broken the law and their conviction had nothing to do with freedom of expression at all. The 2 were sentenced for possession of police documents while investigating the killing of Rohingya Muslims. Suu Kyi also said her government could, in hindsight, have handled the Rohingya situation differently. Since last year, at least 700,000 Rohingya have fled Myanmar, also known as Burma, after the army launched a brutal crackdown in response to attacks by Rohingya militant groups. The UN has called for top military figures to be investigated for genocide. Thousands of people have begun evacuating coastal areas of the Philippines as a super typhoon heads towards the country. Typhoon Magui's parking winds of 225 km per hour is due to make landfalls on the northern tip of the main island of Luzon by the weekend. Schools and offices are being closed and farmers are racing to save crops. 10 million people are in the path of the storm, along with millions more in coastal areas of southern China. The Philippines is hit by about 20 typhoons and storms a year. Forecasters say Magui is the strongest so far in 2018, 900 kilometers in diameter with sustained wind by 205 kilometers per hour. You're watching PTV World Desk. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, the concluding part.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are engaged.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
Well explained the kind of justice about
No religious body in Nigeria.
Validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Come back now, we'll take up with business where Turkey is banning the use of foreign currencies in the country's property market as it looks to stem the dramatic fall of its own currency. The lira. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan issued a decree on Thursday announcing that contracts for sales, rents and leasing must in future be made in lira. Erdogan has previously urged talks to sell their dollar and euros. The move came as Turkey's central bank increased interest rates sharply in an attempt to curb the tumbling lira. The currency has lost almost a third of its value against the dollar since January. Yesterday's decree, which was published in the government official gazette, said all current agreements in the property sector made in foreign currencies must be changed within 30 days. The Bank of England has left interest rates on hold at 0.75% as expected, but flagged greater uncertainty around the Brexit negotiations. The bank's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, voted 9-0 to leave rates unchanged, took rates to the highest level since March 2009. The European Central Bank also kept Eurozone interest rate unchanged at 0% on Thursday, the MPC said in the minutes of its September meeting. There were mounting fears about the UK leaving with the EU without a deal agreed. The bank's regional staff reported that businesses were cracking down on costs and holding back on investments ahead of Brexit. And that's how much we can take on PTV World Desk. Many thanks for watching. Don't forget to download our mobile app via Google Play and Apple stores. It's PTV Nigeria on Google Play and Apple stores. Don't forget also to watch us live via our website. It's www.ptvng.com/live. Once again, many thanks for watching. I am Daniel Waboso.
On Facebook, like our page and share our posts at People's TV NG. On Twitter, follow us at PTV_NG. Follow us on Instagram at PTVNG. Watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel, People's TV. Visit our website, www.ptvng.com. Subscribe now and join the conversation online. People's TV, People's Preferred Station.
People of Nigeria, I hear say don't back Odin. From my side, the good as the banner, because even human being, you no go to the drink Odin. I beg, he good, made a banner. We don't want them again.
A lot of Nigeria youth that have been taken into codeine have caused a lot of havoc to them, even to the society in general.
The recent ban of codeine is very amazing because that will help the Nigerian youths to face the reality and know what they're doing. Because of then, man, people are taking this codeine and they'll be very slow, they can't even help themselves out. But now that it's banned, I think they have no way to find any excuse, so they will come out, do the right thing at the right time and work for themselves.
I feel happy about the ban of codeine in Nigeria because it has caused so many harms to our youth out there. They over-abuse it. For those it may affect, they can go for other alternatives of cough syrup. It's not only codeine that is in Nigeria that is cough syrup.
To some extent, it's okay. In the sense that the abuse is getting out of hand. you see people taking codeine as if they are drinking water, which is causing health hazards to most of us. That, I say, is not good. But think about it the other way around. I need codeine to cure me of one ailment or the other. And for me to go and get it now from the pharmacy becomes a problem because it's banned. So what do you do now? So before the government will come out to say this and that, I think it should be better for government to find out the root cause of why these guys or these little ones, not even guys this time, even women, even politicians, they do it, they take it. Find out why they are doing it, especially those guys outside. Then try to sort out that problem so that it will stop. If you say you ban it, the effect will be on almost everybody. But if you find out the root cause of why they are doing it, it will help us better.
I think the recent ban of codeine is one of the most positive things this government has done so far. And it's a very, very good thing because it will actually curtail drug abuse. Because if you look at Kano and Lagos State right now, they're among the highest abusers of drug, and Katsina State is a very good thing for the youth, and it will definitely grow the level of efficiency and self-sustenance in the country.
Is it not even better that we have a corrupt man who know what we, the youth of Nigeria, want? Trump, as you are saying, Trump is corrupt. Now he's the best president so far. Look at the economy of USA. When the government, you understand, is afraid of the citizen, there is liberty, love, development. But in a situation whereby the citizen is afraid of the government, that is that tyranny. Nigeria is this is tyranny, era of tyranny. You understand? And you cannot take it away. As far as we Nigerians are concerned, Abacha is one of the best presidents we have. And Obasanjo, you understand? And Obasanjo, all these people are corrupt. So is it not better we even have people who they say is corrupt that will come and solve our problem in this country than people who say that they are sent, that things are not moving? Our economy is shut down, many things is shut down, nothing is working. So what are we now saying?
What we are passing through in Nigeria is in fact, is not what we expected. You understand? Even so the Nigerian that voted for, because personally myself, I never voted for Buhari for one day. My vote was not casted for him because I know him right from history. When we were in Lagos, then there was a massive unemployment. Then there was no job. People suffer to eat. Then that was why I didn't give him one vote. And I am telling you, this one, I am not giving him one single vote. My community is not giving him one single vote.
Forget about people who see themselves as if they are the ones to decide. He said he's not going to vote for Buhari. That is left for him. He cannot say his community will not vote for Buhari because he don't know even his brother, his immediate brother, will like Buhari more than he did. You understand? That is how you think. We must pass through a wilderness to get to the promised land. What PDP has been doing to this country is only God. If you give them that chance again, we will derail. We'll get back to where we have been into. Yeah? So we better suffer it now and our future restored.
This government came on the promise that they are going to make Nigeria better. And on discovering, they discovered that there are a lot of messes which to clean up that messes, it will not take 1 or 2 years, or even 3 years, or one single term. That means, I mean, 4 years in government. But I discovered that by giving the government more time, maybe about 8 years or more, we can now start crediting them that yes, they've done this, they've done that. But for the past 3 years of this government, apart from the insecurity that is caused by our own people here in the north central of the Middle Belt extraction, I discovered that yes, this man is really, and the party is really doing well for our people.
The Buhari government is one of the best government we've witnessed. One, Buhari have plan for our generation yet unborn. And Buhari is one we reserve our voters card for to 2023 before we decide who will enter the villa. Because some of us that bring Buhari there, we are still backing Buhari till 2023, and we are happy with his government. The people, the cabinet of Buhari government is people we want. They are intelligent, they are very intelligent, and they are doing what we want. They are protecting our interests, the interest of our generation yet unborn. And our church, we mobilize people, we urge people, we appeal to you to reserve the voters card and continue with Buhari. Thank you, Nigeria.
Oh my God. Oh, oh, oh.
Election is when we elect our leaders who represent us. And election is my right as a citizen of this country.
Election is a voting process. Election is a voting process, like vote a candidate for a leadership.
It's more like my right to choose the country's leader. My own part to play about it.
Say from layman point of view, is any activity that is aimed at putting people in a position of authority.
It's a platform, an avenue for people to elect those or get into offices, those that they want to represent them.
An election is simple now. It's just people choosing one or two people. The society choosing a number of people to represent, to lead, to coordinate, to do administration. All right.
And now you want my trust once more. Before you can say, what an election is, there has to be an electorate. Somebody has to, vote, you understand, in an election for people of authority to get into power.
The vote is the power of the electorate. All right, so the people brings their power to the table during an election. That's what it is.
I think it's more like us having a say of who goes there to represent us, of who we talk to, that will guide us aright, and give us the benefit of that. Oh, let me not use the word of past one. Or give us the benefit that what we need is what we're going to get.
Between the electorate and the election itself, the electorate are supposed to willingly vote according to their conscience, according to what they feel that the capabilities of whoever they want to elect into offices can do.
The electorate, they have the power to elect their leaders because this is a democratic setting, and you know what the meaning of democracy is. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So it is our right as the electorate to elect our leaders.
Only God can judge you now. Only God can judge you now.
Come on, you can't buy my right. It is my right as a citizen, and you can't buy it with money. No amount of money can buy it. So because by the time you sell your right to vote, you're selling your birthright. That's the way I see it.
That is laughable. I don't think, you need to pay to get my vote, but rather you need to earn my vote. My vote is free. I mean, I don't have to collect anything from you to vote for you. If you tell me what you are going to do, and I am okay, and I believe that voting you, will mean realizing such aims and objectives, then I will cast my vote for you. I don't need to take money to vote for you.
That's a lot of money. My power is all I have got. All right. So if it's like I'm selling myself to you. If you pay me and I give you my power, my vote is my power. So it means you are ready to pay a whole lot of money. It's like I'm selling myself to you as a slave. You have total control over me. So that would be difficult to sell, actually. That would be very, very. In fact, it's difficult to explain. Well, but it's also simple to explain. If I give you my power, I have sold myself to you. So why should I do that? It's my vote during an election is my power, is everything I am.
A matter of money, because it's about my generation now, trying to cause a change. There is no money whatsoever that, one has to pay to get the right leader. The money can finish, but when the money finishes, what happens? What's next? That's what we're looking at.
You can only offer me your conscience and nothing else. The conscience that I have to believe that when you get in there, you represent me well. I don't believe in selling of votes, and I can't do that. So my vote only can appeal to your conscience, and that is exactly what it is. If I find out that you cannot represent me well based on your antecedents, I can't at all vote you in, no matter how much you're giving to me.
I don't need anybody's money to vote. If I want to vote, I will vote for someone I choose to vote for. Not because of the money.
See, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
That is the bane of the problem, the bane of the issue here. Collecting money and then selling your votes. You're selling a whole generation of yours. Very wrong. So people should vote according to their conscience. No matter how much they're giving you, let them go with their money. Vote according to your conscience. And when the person comes in, he will know definitely that he did not spend any money. He has come to do work for you. And he will definitely do the work. But when he buys your vote, what do you expect him to do? Definitely nothing. If I come to you and I buy votes from you, you don't expect me to do anything for you. So if they should have any expectation on the incoming administration, they should, from this very moment, begin to reorientate themselves, begin to understand that once they say their votes, they don't have any moral justification again to ask for the amenities that these people are supposed to come in to provide for them.
They should know that, when you sell your vote, you shouldn't hold your leaders accountable for anything. Because at the end of the day, when they buy you, you are electing the wrong leaders. And it will in turn rub off on what will benefit our citizens of this country. Because what we're suffering from in this country is as a result of politicians buying our right to vote them in. That is what we're suffering from. So it should be discouraged. It should be discouraged.
If you look at the lifestyle of people who sells their vote, they are in complete penury, living in squalor. They have no hope. Leadership that continues to gives out money to buy people's vote in an election will continue to exploit the people. They would continue to refuse to do what they should do. They would continue to keep back developmental projects that is supposed to empower the people and continue to use them as piecemeals during election.
The common understanding is that once you sell your vote, it's like you sell your future and you sell the future of the unborn. Because one, if you sell your vote, the person who bought your vote from you bought it, with a price and his personal money. and he will have to do business to recoup his money. And by the time he's recouping his money, you will be the one to suffer.
Okay, you look at the children, you look at yourself. Are you really in the right place? Is the country in the right position? Can we compete with other countries out there? When you collect the money now and it finishes, what's happened next? So I think with that right frame of mind, people tend to think twice before they collect money, because at the end of the day, the money finishes, but the person is still there for the 4 years.
So you shouldn't allow politicians buy you over. That is what we are suffering from as citizens, because we elect the wrong people. So at the end of the day, they're not accountable to us. By the time they buy you, definitely they will recoup their money. So as a result, you will not enjoy any form of amenities. What they are supposed to do for us, of course they cannot do it for us, because they are like investors. You invest money, you want to recoup it. So you can't hold them responsible for anything.
Why you keep on deceiving the people, my brother, my sister?
When you get politicians that want to come into power by crook or by any means,
One thing is them having doubts, them not having the consciousness of producing results. You know, when you won't produce results, you tend to pay for something. You know, when they pay them off, they feel they can do anything there because you are being bought over, so you don't have authority anymore.
Of course, they are businessmen. That is what they are. Businessmen coming to sell, coming to buy. So when they come to you, tell them that you are not selling. They will definitely come. They don't have any other thing. They don't have nothing whatsoever to offer the country except that money that they have, with which they will come to buy a vote. And when they enter there, they don't do anything for you.
Why don't we work together so the future will be brighter?
Money politics is the worst type of politics you can experience or have anywhere in the world. So our challenge is actually coming to the place of realization, of understanding what you are, what you carry, and who you are. If we can get to that place easily, then all of this would not even come up.
People should begin to, realize that once these people are voted in on the basis of having body of vote, I'm telling you, they will not do anything for you.
As a nation, we should know that those who are buying votes, in the first instance, do not mean well for the country. And if it is possible, the whole country should revote against them. Once you see anybody, soliciting to buy your vote, that should be enough reason to reject that person or that political party, as the case may be.
If you vote for money, at the end of the day, the person will be doing anyhow in the power, and you have the right to say anything.
The value of my vote is enormous. It's about the change I want in my country. It's about a whole lot of things. The generation at large, we're talking about what we want to see, the change we want to see in our country. Look at the Western country out there. We are not just closed. The education is down. Everything is not working. So we need something to work in this country.
My voter's card has power because it is my right. It is my right, and nobody can buy it.
I dedicate this one to all of the shady politicians. We go promise and fail and to make the people live in harsh conditions. Yeah.
Plastic bags. I'll say every day. Plastic bag. Wow. I might say every day.
There is nothing I make use of in my shop as leather. I use about 2 packages of leather every day.
Packing several things, clothes. It could be clothes at times. It could just be maybe items from the market. As in when you buy foodstuffs, even packing other plastic bottles too. And virtually anything that needs to be packed. Most of the times we use plastic bags for them.
If I'm going to somewhere like the market or a shop or something, I'll definitely have to use a plastic bag.
For me, my business revolves around that. You can imagine coming to buy a pair of shoes and I just give you in your hands. What will happen? Will I ask you to put it in your handbag? No, I can't do without it. And then what if I come to the market and I want to buy tomato or whatever? What happens? Where will I put my stuff?
Leather, they help my business in many ways because of many customers, they cannot buy your market without leather now. They may not be, it will not be portable for them to carry it to their home. So there is portability being using leather. in terms of putting the materials that putting the goods that you have sold to the customers, so that it will be easy to carry to the car for them.
Because I need it for everything. I need it for my waste bin, I need to pack some things, I need it for everything.
I'm a fashion designer. Most times if my clients want to see me, I go with my bags, because when I come here I always come with clothes. That's the reason I'm using it.
Well, it depends on the quality of the plastic bag and the size. For instance, if it's like the big polythene bags, we recycle. We could still use it to maybe pack clothes later. We could still use it at home for maybe pack refuse before we dispose of it. But if it's the smaller ones that maybe you used to carry, like something like fish, or things that will still leave stain or smells in it, we dispose of it immediately.
So if it's perishable things, I'll definitely throw it. But if it's like about clothes, we usually keep it in a basket in my house, so we can use it for other things. Yes.
I don't know, but I think a long while.
Oh, this question, Oga. The question is too big. Leather can take, to me, maybe 1 year. It will decompose within a year.
Like a month? I don't know. Like a month.
My God, I'm sure it takes long, because I think those are the things that you usually see that last a very long time inside all of the refuse dump and all those things. Most times when you go to pack stuff from a refuse dump, some other things might have decomposed over time, but of course the plastic bags would just be there sticking out. So I'm sure it takes a long time.
I have no idea.
I guess for my little age, or for my little staying in this earth, I've never come across that one. Plastic bag, it don't decay easily. I've never seen it.
Well, how long it decomposes? How long? Because okay, well, at least from my own little knowledge of plastic, I know it's not biodegradable, so I know it takes a long time. Maybe I say 50 years thereabouts for it to actually decompose, because of the kind of material it's made out of. So, but I'm not sure about. But I know it's a very long time actually.
Wow. A month? Or a year. It depends. A year.
That's impossible. Hi. That's impossible. No.
I cannot agree. It takes 150 years to decompose in the soil. So I may believe it, since I don't have any knowledge on it.
You don't say. Then we should reconsider, really.
I'm just hearing it for the first time.
For a nylon bag to decompose after 100 and something years, I don't know. Maybe only a scientist can tell that, not me.
That's a lot of pollution for the ecosystem, actually, because since it doesn't decompose on its own, definitely even in because okay, well, I dispose of it through the waste bin and all that, but a lot of people just throw it in the gutters. So you, at least I know that will definitely clog up the drainages, and even for, well, in fact, even to try to like quantify the amount of damage. Well, I really can't quantify, but I know it's a lot. It's a lot of damage to the ecosystem.
It causes erosion. I think that's which I've come across before. Erosion during rainy season, when you drop it, like when you keep them anyhow, like in a dustbin, and it rain, can easily cause erosion.
Well, I'm not really sure of like exact effects, but I shall know that every single thing in this world has its side effects. It has, even this microphone might have its own side effects. So I'm not really sure, but I'm very sure it does. It has side effects.
Plastic bag? No, I don't think so. It's not possible, honestly.
No. No, I can't.
I don't know how it's going to look like, but I don't think I can stay without that plastic bag. Because if I did not, then my client, they will insult me there in our shoe. They will cost my life. So I don't think I can stay without using plastic bag. That's true.
We got a 24/7 light, we got water, we got the best amenities, and when I don't feel like going out, I just watch TV.
Nice. Star Times, right?
Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, no.
We get all that and more channels safe. The Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best?
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 Naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Choose it.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 Naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on Star Times. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are engaged.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC.
Jesus.
I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right
what is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
A classico, I tell you, like 3 points is clear.
Yes.
Eh? They go watch match.
Okay, what do you want me to do about it?
Give us light.
That's the only thing you've been saying since you came into my office.
Maybe your work be that.
No, it's my work, but see.
Our government fit do their work if we sef do our own work. No just sit down. Carry wetin dey worry you, go meet who suppose solve am.
On Facebook, like our page and share our posts at People's TV NG. On Twitter, follow us at PTV_NG. Follow us on Instagram at PTVNG. Watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel, People's TV. Visit our website, www.ptvng.com. Subscribe now and join the conversation online. People's TV, people's preferred station.
Hello and welcome to PTV Today. I am Lilian Ogazi. Former Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko has declared his bid to run for president on the platform of the Labour Party in 2019. Mimiko made the declaration at exactly 12:15 p.m. at an event held at the National Secretariat of the Abdulkadir Abdulsalam-led LP in Abuja on Thursday. He said there comes a time in the life of a nation where all patriots must stand up to be counted. He said, "I have found it compelling to declare my intention to run for President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria." Mimiko lamented the wanton killings across the country, especially in the Middle Belt, saying purposeful leadership was required to halt the carnage. And on party politics, Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara has defected from the All Progressive Congress to the People's Democratic Party. The embattled Speaker has picked the PDP nomination and expression of interest forms to return to the House in 2019. Dogara a few days ago expressed his desire to return to the National Assembly in 2019 when members of his constituents visited him in Abuja. However, he refused to state the political party that he would use to facilitate his ambition. Special Assistant to the President on Justice Reform and National Coordinator Open Government Partnership Juliet Ibeka-Runwagu has declared her intention to contest for the Enugu West senatorial seat. It is the same seat Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu is occupying in the Senate. Ibeka-Runwagu told newsmen in Enugu on Thursday that she has since submitted her nomination form at the National Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress. Now, according to her, the decision to vie for the position is in obedience to the clarion call by all interest groups in the senatorial zone. She said that the people had complained incessantly of the negative impact of Ekweremadu's representation. The All Progressive Congress in Benue State has kicked against the suspension of 3 council chairmen it said refused to follow Governor Samuel Otom to the People's Democratic Party. APC said in a statement by its spokesman James Orungugwa that the suspension was done in contravention of a court order barring two factions of the State Assembly from sitting. It added that it would do everything possible within the ambit of the law to nullify the government action. APC also called on security forces to hold the governor responsible if any crisis breaks out in the affected local government. It describes autumn swearing in of acting chairman as a ploy to boost his delegate list for the forthcoming PDP governorship primaries. Still in Benue State, Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State has sworn in an acting chairman for Ogbadibo Local Government Council of the state. He swore in the leader of the Legislative Council, Joseph Ukpe, barely 24 hours after the House of Assembly suspended 3 council chairmen. Meanwhile, the government says the deputy chairman of Vandekia, Titus Adaku, and his counterparts from Gwe East, Shana Samuel, are to take over affairs of the respective local government. This, it says, follows the suspension of the council chairman. Moving on to Ekiti now, the Ekiti State House of Assembly has approved the 10 billion naira supplementary budget requested by Governor Ayodele Fayoshe. The sitting began at about 12 noon on Thursday and was concluded within 1 hour. It was attended by 14 lawmakers and presided over by Speaker Kola Oluwole. The bill went through first, second readings and committee review before its passage within the hour. The appropriation bill was forwarded to the House of Assembly only on Wednesday by Governor Fayoshe with Governor-elect Kayode Fayemi, threatening severe consequences for whoever took part in what he described as the fraudulent action. The 10 billion naira supplementary budget comes about 1 month before the terminal date of the Fayoshe's administration. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Department of State Services to pay 10.5 million naira as compensation to Bayelsa journalist Jones Abiri. This, according to the court, is for what it says is illegal detention of the journalist for 2 years. At the resumed hearing on Thursday, Justice Nnamdi Dimgba stated that the DSS did not deny arresting and detaining him since July 2016. He said that when Abiri was eventually charged to court earlier this year, he was not charged with the crimes for which he was arrested. The judge then ruled that the DSS acted outside the provision of the Terrorism Prevention Act and therefore ordered the agency to pay compensation. Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist and publisher of the Weekly Source magazine, was arrested at his office in Yenogwa for alleged link to armed militancy in the Niger Delta region. Nigerian workers have thrown their weight behind organized labor's 14-day ultimatum to the federal government on a new minimum wage. NLC President Ayuba Waba discloses at a State of the Nation press briefing in Abuja. He frowned at the attitude of the Minimum Wage Committee, saying the decision to adjourn indefinitely shows its lack of seriousness. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army says the September 12th report, which suggests the capture of 145 battalion in Damasak, Borno State, is false. A statement circulated on Thursday morning stressed that the army engaged and subdued the terrorists as a result of the superior firepower from troops during the battle for Damasak. Director of Army Public Relations Texas Chukwu in a statement also noted that the fight against terrorists in the northeast was yielding positive results. Stories come your way this day.
And soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
You're welcome back. Now moving on, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria has announced the reopening of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. This is coming barely a few hours after an aircraft overshot the runway while landing. The General Manager Corporate Affairs, Fan Hereta Yakubu, in a statement, assured airlines and passengers that the airport was safe for normal operations, adding that Fan was committed to her core values of safety, security and comfort. Emergency workers in Adamawa State have confirmed that flood has killed at least 10 persons in the state. The Emergency Management Agency says scores of people have also been displaced following the recent heavy rainfall. Executive Secretary of the agency, Mohammed Suleiman, disclosed this in Yola. Suleiman said that hundreds of domestic animals, including cattle, were also lost to the flood. He listed the affected areas to include Yola South, Gayuk, Lamode and Song local government areas. Suleiman added that more than half of the state population is currently under the threat of impending flood. And now straight to the foreign scene, the UN on Thursday joined the rest of the world to pay final respects to former Secretary General Kofi Annan. It came on the day the late Ghanaian diplomat was laid to rest in Ghana. The current UN Secretary Antonio Guterres paid glowing tributes to Annan, who died on August 18th at 80 years. The UN General Assembly is to hold a commemorative meeting to pay tribute to the former Secretary General on Friday in New York. Statements, a minute of silence, and a traditional African cultural performance are expected in honor of the 7th UN scribe. And now in May, Ma Eun-sung Suu Kyi has defended the jailing of 2 Reuters journalists despite international condemnation. She said Walon and Kwaso had broken the law and insisted that their conviction had nothing to do with freedom of expression. While investigating the killing of Rohingya Muslims, Suu Kyi also said her government could have handled the Rohingya situation differently. Since last year, at least 700,000 Rohingya have fled Myanmar, also known as Burma, after the army launched a crackdown in response to attacks by a Rohingya militant group. The UN has called for top military figures to be investigated for genocide. The Malian migrant who rescued a small boy dangling from a balcony in Paris, France, is now a French citizen. Mamadou Gassama scaled 4 floors with his bare hands to save the 4-year-old who was left unsupervised. Gassama, who had been in France, illegally received international acclaim for his bravery. President Emmanuel Macron personally thanked him and said he would be offered a role in the fire service. Now the government has issued a decree announcing that the Malian migrant is now a French citizen. He was initially given French presidency and then fast-tracked to receive French citizenship for his heroic gesture. He earned the nickname Spider-Man as a result of his act of bravery. He also signed a contract for an internship with the Paris Fire Service and was given a medal by the city. President Vladimir Putin on Thursday promised to strengthen the army and supply it with new generation weapons as he traveled to watch Russia's biggest war games since the fall of the Soviet Union. The Vostok 2018 drills taking place in the eastern Siberia close to the border with China involved 300,000 Russian troops as well as joint exercises with the Chinese army. The exercises are involved over 1,000 military aircraft as well as up to 360,000 tanks, come amid tense relations between Russia and the West that have fallen to a post-Cold War low. Addressing the gathering of the soldiers, Putin said Russia was a peaceful country ready for cooperation with any state interested in partnership, but that it was the soldiers' duty to be ready to defend his country and its allies. Turkey is reinforcing its military post inside Syria rebel-held province of Idlib. Turkish and Syrian rebels seeking to deter a government offensive, which it says would unleash a humanitarian disaster on its border. President Tayyip Erdogan has warned that an assault by the army and its Russian and Iran-backed allies on Idlib, home to about 3 million people, will uproot hundreds of thousands in one of Syria's last rebel strongholds. Already hosting 3.5 million Syrians, the world's biggest refugee population, Turkey says it cannot absorb more victims of the war and has accused the West of abandoning it to face the consequence of President Bashar al-Assad's reconquest of Syria. And finally, on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order authorizing sanctions against individuals or countries found to have meddled in American elections. He has faced months of criticism for not doing enough to prevent potential foreign interference in future roles. The order comes with midterm elections just weeks away. And in the world of sport, Nigeria and Ghana will rekindle the 67-year-old rivalry when the Golden Eaglets take on the Black Starlets of Ghana in Niamey on Saturday. The match is for a place in the 2019 African Under-17 Cup of Nations finals. The Eaglets book a place in the final by defeating host nation Niger Republic 2-1 in a competitive match at the General Sani Koncha Stadium in Niamey on Wednesday evening. Akinwumi Amo opened scoring with a finish line from a pull-out in the 45th minute, and Olakunle Oluwaseun, who had scored a brace in the 2-3 defeat to Burkina Faso in their opening match, and another in 5-1 Marlin of Côte d'Ivoire last week, and the scoreline comfortable with a magnificent strike 2 minutes before the hour. The home team pulled a goal back late on, but the Nigerian boys held on to set up a potentially explosive final against Ghana, who had earlier defeated Côte d'Ivoire in the first semi-final at the same venue. The finals of the 2019 African Under-17 Cup of Nations will hold in Tanzania. Still on sport now, Liberian President George Weah has described Nigerian football as a model that he wants his country to follow. The former soccer star said this shortly after featuring in Tuesday's night exhibition match, which the Eagles won 2-0 in Monrovia. The former World Footballer of the Year revealed that Nigerian football had always inspired him. Weah also commended the Nigerian authorities and the NFF for honouring the game. The Liberian president and the former national teammate James Deba led out the Lone Star against Super Eagles, who won through goals scored by Henry Onyekuru and Simon Nwankwo. Liberia reduced the deficit through a penalty kick in the second half when Semi Ajayi handled in the box. And on tennis, new U.S. Open champion Naomi Osaka says she does not feel sad about the way her win was overshadowed by Serena Williams' outburst at the umpire. Osaka 20 beat Williams 6-2, 6-4 in Saturday's final, but the crowd booed as she received the trophy. Williams got a code violation for coaching, a penalty point for racket abuse, and a game penalty for calling the umpire a thief in New York. Speaking on the Ellen DeGeneres show, she said, "I couldn't tell what was going on. It was so loud and a little bit stressful." Osaka remained composed throughout Williams' repeated on-court protests at umpire Carlos Ramos as she ended the 36-year-old's bid for a record-equaling 24th Grand Slam title. And on EPL, Premier League will test video assistant referee VAR technology across multiple games for the first time on Saturday. After VAR tested individual officials last season, the Premier League now wants to see how the system copes with several games at the same time. The trial across all 5 3 p.m. kickoffs will be at the central VAR hub. There will be no communication with anyone at the grounds at which the games are taking place. The trial limits the use of VAR to goals, penalty calls, direct red cards in cases of potential mistaken identity. In April, Premier League clubs introducing VAR for 2018 and 2019. Dan Evans will play for Great Britain for the first time in over a year on Friday's Davis Cup playoff against Uzbekistan. The 28-year-old will face world number 60 Dennis Istomin in Glasgow. Evans made his comeback from a 12-month drug ban in April and has mainly played on the second-tier Challenger Tour this season. He failed a drug test after contaminated legal medication in his wash bag. Britain's highest-ranked player at the event will be Cameron Norrie, who will take on world number 434, Jurabek Krimov, in what will be his second Davis Cup appearance. Evans had reached a career-high world ranking at 41 just a month before he failed his drug test. And in Russia, a group of UK athletes have demanded Russia's ban from international competition remains until it overhauls its anti-doping system. The World Anti-Doping Agency will vote whether to reinstate Russia's anti-doping agency on September 20th. Russia's red mission would be a catastrophe for clean sports, says the UK Anti-Doping Athlete Commission. It warns that athletes will no longer have faith in the system if Russia is allowed back. The UK Anti-Doping Athlete Commission says Russia falls short on 2 of the demands. And that's all on the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Lilian Ogazi.
As usual, I am excited today. AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership on the Senate or the House of Reps.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the APC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I be Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono.
One of the reasons for the crowd in the banking hall have to do with the bulk of people who use the ATM.
One of the banks happened to be one of our very old banks. Okay, they were doing that. They've been doing that for quite a while. You know, the level of education usually cannot compare to education for those with current accounts. Yeah. Okay, when you have education.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono. With me today,
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC.
Jesus.
I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
and there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Ours is a country of vast tropical and equatorial woodlands, with arid deserts to extensive savanna grasslands, expansive mountains, immense rivers, numerous waterfalls, and mystical forests. Nigeria has it all. It is a place of rhythm, of dance, of music, of festivals, of tradition and culture, of spectacular color, of glamour, and a country of 200 million smiles. And home to a unique people of incomparable passion. A country blessed with breathtaking landscapes. Home to some of the most diverse equatorial flora and fauna species on the earth. Nigeria is the undisputed welcoming heart of Africa. We have 521 unique ethno-linguistic groups. The world's newest and organic language, Pidgin, the world's oldest structural sign language, Hausa Sign Language. In addition to the world's oldest continuous market, the 600-year-old Kurmi market, which is situated within the ancient northern city of Kano, where 1,000-year-old city walls can still be found intact to this day. Nigeria has unique and ancient cultures, traditions and customs, and is steeped in spirituality, with as many Muslims as Christians. We also boast the world's oldest systematic religious philosophical system in Ifa, also known as Afa, and practiced as Santeria, Candomblé, Palo, Ubanda, and Voodoo, and in various countries around the world. Nigeria is also home to the world's oldest purpose-built boat, the 8,500-year-old Ifuna canoe. Nigeria is the home of African sports.
You're watching
Before the creation of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, was confronted with the twin problem of poor global image and the dwindling economic fortunes due to the activities of advanced fee fraudsters, also known as 419ers, and corruption in the public and private sectors. Hello and welcome to the program, The Eagle. My name is Aisha Mohammed. On the program today, we represent to you a special documentary that chronicles efforts made by the EFCC in combating the menace of corruption in Nigeria. Please stay tuned as Aisha Gambari will be our guide right after this timeout.
Before the creation of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, was confronted with the twin problem of poor global image and dwindling economic fortunes due to the activities of advanced fee fraudsters, also known as 419, and corruption in the public and private sectors. Foreign direct investment came in trickles, and domestic businesses struggled to get by, while the nation's infrastructure was in severe state of decay. The EFCC was therefore created as an instrument of reform to help restore confidence in the nation's economy by instilling corporates' responsibility through the enforcement of all extant laws on economic and financial crimes. Since its creation in 2003, the Commission has successfully carried out this mandate with several milestones recorded, including the delisting of Nigeria from the list of non-cooperative countries and territories (NCCT) by the Financial Action Task Force in June 2006. Due to its unrelenting efforts in the war against graft, the EFCC has become a reference point among law enforcement agencies both home and abroad. Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, a commissioner of police, became the acting chairman of the EFCC on November 11, 2015, after taking over the arms of affairs from Ibrahim Lamurde. Magu is one of the founding staff of the EFCC, who served as the head of the Economic Governance Unit during the tenure of Nuhu Ribadu, the pioneer chairman of the EFCC. Since Magu assumed office as the acting chairman, he has been unwavering in his commitment to change the narrative as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. His first challenge on taking the reins of affairs was to address the dwindling fortunes of the Commission by initiating reforms that has ushered in a radically improved work ethics within the Commission. Convinced that an organization perceived to be corrupt cannot fight corruption, integrity issues were addressed by ensuring that round pegs were placed in round holes in terms of postings to sensitive operations position. To ensure that only the best are offered employment into the Commission, the recruitment processes were also reviewed. Several measures including aptitude tests, interviews, polygraph examinations, and vetting of candidate certificates and background were introduced amongst others. New cadet intakes employed by the Commission are thereafter sent to the Nigeria Defense Academy in Kaduna for rigorous law enforcement training. Fully conscious of the growing sophistication of economic crimes and corruption, an inventory of the existing operations architecture was taken, which resulted in the creation of new units to address emerging challenges in criminality. New zonal offices were also created in Ibadan, Kaduna, Benin, and Iyo, while the Maiduguri office was reopened to improve accessibility of the public to the Commission. The EFCC new head office complex, whose construction was abandoned due to lack of funds, was also given priority. Upon his assumption of office, all avenues were employed to raise funds for the completion of the project. With the support of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and the 8th National Assembly, Julius Berger, the construction company handling the project, returned to site, and the building has now been completed. In the area of operations, the Commission sent a forceful message that impunity will no longer be condoned by taking on the high and mighty in the society. One of the flanks of war being waged by the Ibrahim Magu-led EFCC is leading an investigation into the arms procurement deal saga, allegedly involving top serving and retired military generals and political leaders. For the very first time in the history of Nigeria, senior military officers, including former service chiefs, a number of serving and retired generals, their civilian counterparts, former ministers, governors, and several politicians were investigated and arraigned for allegedly diverting over $15 billion meant for the procurement of arms to combat Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria. Also arrested and arraigned was Colonel Samba Dasuki, a former security advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan. While the alleged free stealing and sharing lasted, hundreds of soldiers were dying on the battlefield. Thousands of innocent lives lost. Women were raped and abducted. Children were rendered orphans, and properties and houses worth billions of naira were destroyed. The 2 million displaced people in camps across the country, while being thankful for their lives, contend with the harsh realities of survival. In many other parts of the country, compatriots continue to live in fear, grief, pains, and sorrow. As the sufferings continued, a few individuals far away in the big cities whined and dined on what is now being called blood money. Investigations by the EFCC revealed that, for instance, in a single stream of transaction, the sum of $2.1 billion moved through the office of a one-time National Security Advisor to those of several individuals for fictitious services that were never rendered. The money allegedly found its ways into huge private estates of certain individuals, and they acquired properties worth billions of naira across the country, even as some allegedly stock millions of dollars in their wardrobes.
How much do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it is estimated to be $50,000. Yes, 10,000 per punch. 50. 100. 150. 100. 250. 300. 250. 400. 450. 500. 550. 600. 650. 700, 750, 800,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 500, 1 million.
As an agency determined to ensure that corrupt elements are denied access to the proceeds of their crime, the EFCC, in a calculated raid, combed every nook and cranny of the country to confiscate assets traced to the missing funds. In Abuja, Nigeria, for example, several properties worth over 10 billion naira traced to the retired and serving generals allegedly involved in the arms deal were marked and confiscated by the EFCC. And in high-brow areas in Lagos, Nigeria, the EFCC also traced and confiscated a number of choice properties linked to the culprits of the arms scandal. Apart from the arms deal fraud, the Commission moved into the oil industry. The country's oil subsidy regime, which was characterized by massive corruption, was investigated, and many corrupt oil marketers were arrested and arraigned. The subsidy fraud, which was perpetrated in connivance with government officials, drained the country's treasury of billions of naira, allegedly claimed by criminals for petroleum products that were never supplied. The EFCC recorded a major milestone in the prosecution of these defaulters with the conviction of the trial of Walter Wagbasoma, Chairman Ontario Oil and Gas Limited, Ada Ugo Ngadi, Managing Director of the company, and Jibril Rowaye, Managing Director Brila Energy Limited, to 10 years imprisonment. But perhaps the most audacious oil sector investigation is the one involving a former Petroleum Resources Minister, Desiani Alice Madueke, and her cronies over various improprieties running into several millions of dollars. In the course of the investigation, operatives of the EFCC recovered cash and jewelries worth millions of dollars from her Abuja home. Other properties worth over $50 million linked to Desiani across Nigeria have now been forfeited to the federal government. While these revelations rankle, most Nigerians were also shocked to learn about how the country's patrimony was frittered in bribes for vote schemes in the 2015 general election. The investigation, which is still ongoing, has witnessed the interrogation and prosecution of a number of politicians, former federal ministers, and INEC officials, amongst others. Investigations by the EFCC into the public service system also revealed that Nigeria lost billions of naira to the ghost worker syndrome, a corrupt practice that injected thousands of non-existing workers into the government payroll system. The syndicate behind this monumental fraud was busted, which led to the government saving over 200 billion naira as nearly 50,000 ghost workers were removed from government payroll system. Still in the efforts to check leakages, the federal government, in a directive issued in 2015, called for the reinforcement of the Treasury Single Account, TSA. The directive ordered all ministries, departments and agencies of government to commence payment of all government revenues into the TSA accounts. The EFCC again keyed into these pronouncements. Operatives of the Commission, in a swift investigation, discovered over 100 billion naira hidden away by defaulting agencies. This calculated move now saves the government over 24 billion naira monthly. The Commission's investigation activities received a further boost with the coming into force of the federal government's whistleblower policy. The policy, which was initiated in December 2016, is primarily to support the fight against financial crimes and corruption by increasing exposure of financial crimes and rewarding whistleblowers. The EFCC quickly created reporting portals via its social media platforms at Official EFCC and through dedicated phone lines. The very first call which came through led to the discovery of $9.8 million hidden in the slums of Sabon Tasha, Kaduna State. The money is said to belong to Dr. Andrew Yakubu, a former group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The funds are under an interim forfeiture order, even as Yakubu challenged the court order. Still in Kaduna, following a tip-off, the EFCC also intercepted the sum of about 250 million naira in sacks at the Kaduna International Airport after the bags were sighted unattended to. In Lagos, another tip from a whistleblower led to the interception of 250 million naira in various currencies at a popular textile market in the city. And in the shopping plaza located in the highbrow area of Victoria Island, also in Lagos, the sum of about 500 million naira was also uncovered. The most unbelievable discovery was, however, that of Asban Towers, also in Ikoyi, Lagos, where a whopping cache of over 13 billion naira in local and foreign currencies were discovered in an apartment on the 7th floor of the towers. These funds have now been forfeited to the federal government. In addition to cash and properties, the EFCC Eagle Eyes also cited and recovered several vehicles suspected to be proceeds of crime. Amongst them are 17 vehicles linked to a former Comptroller General of Customs, Abdullah Idiko Inde. The EFCC also waged into the over 20 billion naira pension scam. Several individuals alleged to have stolen pension funds and laundered them were arrested and are currently facing charges. Notably amongst them is Sani Shoaibu Tedi, a former Director of Pension Accounts, Office of the Heads of Civil Service of the Federation, and the suspended Director General of the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, Nelly Meshak. Serving judges and very senior lawyers are equally standing trial for corruption. They include Justice Rita Ajumagobia and Justice Nwali S. Unguta, amongst others. Also being prosecuted are senior advocates of Nigeria, SAN, including Ricky Tafa and Joseph Nwobike, amongst others. Joseph Nwobike has, however, been convicted to 12 months imprisonment for perversion of justice. Serving and former heads of government agencies also felt the EFCC squeeze. Patrick Akpobolokemi, a former Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and 8 others are being prosecuted on a 40 counts charge bordering on money laundering and stealing. Others are Abba Moru, former Minister of Interior, and Steve Orosai, former heads of service, who are also standing trial for offences ranging from recruitment and pension fraud. Former state governors are also being prosecuted for various offences. They include Joshua Dariye, former governor of Plateau State, Jolly Inyame, former governor of Taraba State, Oji Uzo Kalu, former governor of Abia State, and Ikedi Oakim, former governor of Imo State. Others are Alao Akala, former governor of Oyo State, Murtala Inyaku, former governor of Adamawa State alongside his son Abdulaziz Inyako, Ibrahim Shema, former governor of Katsina State, Sele Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, and his sons Aminu and Mustafa, and their Benue State counterpart Gabriel Suswan and his finance commissioner Omodachi Okolobia. In terms of convictions, the EFCC recorded about 500 convictions from 2015 when the present administration came on board to May 2018. Those convicted include a former governor of Adamawa State, Bala Ingelari, to 5 years in jail for procurement fraud, though later upturned by the appeal court, but the EFCC has since filed an appeal against the ruling. A former local government chairman in Kogi State, Gabriel Daudu, was sentenced to 5 years in jail for money laundering, and 3 oil marketers, Walter Wagbasona, Ada Ugo Ngadi, and Jibril Rawaye, alongside their companies, were also sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for oil subsidy fraud. Other notable convictions include that of Accountant General of Kebbi State, Mohammed Arzika Aikengari, who bagged 70 years imprisonment for his involvement in over 1 billion naira fraud. An undergraduate of Kuala Lumpur Metropolitan University, Malaysia, Hope Olusegun Aroke, was sentenced to 24 years imprisonment for his involvement in internet fraud. The commission also secured an extradition order from Justice Abdul Kafarati of the Federal High Court in Abuja for the extradition of Franca Asemota, a Nigerian fugitive, to the United Kingdom for offences bordering on trafficking of minors, and 9 foreigners alongside their visa, MT Asterix, to 5 years imprisonment for illegal oil bunkering. This is just to mention a few. In the area of international collaborations, the EFCC has also been actively involved in the efforts to repatriate stolen Nigerian assets abroad. These calculated exercises has seen the Commission engaging countries that are believed to be nests of stolen assets. Despite the modest impact that the Commission's enforcement efforts have recorded, the Commission is of the firm belief that law enforcement actions alone cannot win the war against corruption in Nigeria. To this extent, the EFCC gave a boost to its preventive mandate by creating various sensitization programs in order to educate and enlighten the public about the ills of corruption. Awareness roadworks are organized quarterly in order to draw more attention to the anti-graft fight. The Commission also airs anti-corruption programs on leading radio and television networks in Nigeria, even as the social media has been fully embraced as a vehicle for mobilization and information dissemination. Through its Enlightenment and Reorientation Unit, the EFCC has created various enlightenment programs for schools, youth, women groups, religious bodies, and other government agencies. And in a bid to draw more attention to the crusade, the Commission has also embraced the use of music by organizing musical concerts across the country. The Clean Hands campaign was also launched in Abuja and across other geopolitical zones. The program was designed to promote the values of integrity and probity among the younger generation. The Creative Youth Initiative was also unveiled in October 2016. The idea was conceived out of the need to give children a platform to express themselves using arts and various talents in order to speak against corruption. Women Against Corruption, also known as WAC, was added to the EFCC campaign strategy with the flag off of the program in Abuja by wife of the president, Hajia Aisha Buhari, in December 2016. The same program was rolled out in February 2017 in Lagos with wives of all the southwestern governors and notable society women present at the event. Other geopolitical zones are built to follow soon. For its unrelenting efforts in championing the war against corruption in Nigeria, the EFCC has received several commendations both home and abroad. In August 2017, the EFCC was rated as the most effective government agency in Nigeria in a report conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. The City People magazine, during its 20th City People Awards for Excellence, also recognized the Commission as the most effective government agency in the country for the year 2016. Magu was also honored with the 2016 Person of the Year award by Leadership newspapers. Indeed, slowly but steadily, the Anti-Graft Agency is altering the narrative of criminal prosecution in Nigeria and setting a standard for law enforcement agencies within and outside the country. Global confidence has been restored as several donor organizations and foreign law enforcement agencies collaborate with the EFCC, which is opening fresh lines of partnership and collaboration. The EFCC has displayed that courage and dedicated leadership can bring an end to the menace of corruption in Nigeria. And going by the President Muhammadu Buhari's words, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. Let us all rise to this challenge.
Indeed, slowly but surely, the Anti-Graft Agency is altering the narrative of criminal prosecution in Nigeria and setting a standard for law enforcement agency within and outside of the country. It is believed that all Nigerians will support the EFCC in its quest for a corrupt-free Nigeria. Please join the fight, as the responsibility is a collective one. And that's all we have for you on this episode of The Eagle. You too can be part of this program by sending your inquiries and suggestions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org, or search for us on Google Plus at Official EFCC, Official EFCCNG at gmail.com. You can like our page on facebook.com/Official EFCC, or follow us on Twitter at Official EFCC. And of course, you can visit our Instagram page at Official EFCC. To watch our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/Official EFCC. My name is Aisha Mohammed, hoping to see you next week. Always remember that a public office is a public trust, and do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Goodbye, and God bless Nigeria.
On Facebook, like our page and share our posts at People's TV NG. On Twitter, follow us at PTV_NG. Follow us on Instagram at PTVNG. Watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel, People's TV. Visit our website, www.ptvng.com. Subscribe now and join the conversation online. People's TV, People's Preferred Station.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is